Hello traders, Nick here looking at Lucid. Not my favorite EV from a standpoint of business perspective, like stock, not the company or the car. Car is slick, high miles, all of that, miles per gallon, so to speak, range, but pricey. So niche market doesn't compete with Tesla on the lower end, most definitely not. I think the cheapest car is over 75, 80,000. The one that made the news is like 150 to 180,000. And I don't think they're selling any of that. They might be already allocated, whatever it's called, Plaid or no, that's Tesla. Anyway, it had a funny name like that. Anyway, so company aside, legit car, beautiful. My issue is it doesn't have sales now, so it's an intangible. So every dollar in the stock price is made out of future banking on future successes. Nothing now. Yes, real people. Yes, real factories, etc. But capacity is limited, and even if they sell everything of the highest, most expensive one, they have a lot of catch up to do as far as the P&L is concerned. So I prefer betting money on real P&Ls, but that's me. So somebody that thinks that this one is going to take off and just evolve, that is a valid thesis for the long term. I'm not knocking it. The comments today is about price action and how it's trading right now. So my last video, it was falling here end of August, probably here, and then I said it has support. In fact, let me put my drawings. Base, an imperative to hold. It didn't hold, but only for one day. So it did hold eventually. So it did have buyers. They did show up. And I said, you don't want to lose this base because it just opens the door for wishy-washiness, I think were my words. And like, why? And then look, I think this was when the headline came out, either here or here, about the mileage. I think that's a BS way to chase it for. Either believe in the company's success, but range is not it because it's I think the top two models that do that kind of range, and they have so much other things going against them, like catching up, so I wouldn't chase headlines. I would chase the opportunity. So if you were long or if you bought the dip, kudos, good job. Now, what happens from here? They broke out of prior resistance, like 23-ish was a problem. They handled it. In fact, 21 was a problem. They handled it, and one step leads to another step. So this one, they handled it, now it became support. So if it dips into there, it's a buyable support. See, I have a long note to myself. So if it comes back into 21-ish, it's not a place to leave it from a trading perspective. For the same reason, now 23 serves that same purpose for now, because it was a problem and now they overtook it, and now they come back to test it normal. So this dip doesn't change anything about this. It's just a burst, breathe, come back and tackle with this. So if I'm patient, I would either buy the dip, which is thereabouts, into 23, or buy the rip above the breakout. So this is the visual problem. It's undeniable. It's right there. Fail, 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 fail. Come back and take it out. And then if you do that, then you have like a complex head and shoulders, like two shoulders, big head, one shoulder. Arguably, that's one shoulder right here and another shoulder drawing. What I'm saying is it's going to ping pong between support and resistance. Whichever side breaks through first will carry momentum in that direction. If this one fails, it comes back to the prior one, and they'll battle it out around 20.5. If this one holds, then come back to here, and this one fails, meaning the bulls overcome it, they go above it, come back and test it, and then they finish the job. This is where you look left. Technically, the target should be up here. This is a crazy market. This is a crazy stock. So look left and pick your spots. I wouldn't start to chase a breakout before it happens, but some people like to jump the gun. If I want to jump the gun, I want to make it from the lowest base possible. This is doable, but you also need the help of the entire market. So you also have to look at the S&P. So what is going on there? The macroeconomic conditions have not changed. What has changed is trader sentiment. So people are fickle. Nothing new happened. Oh, Nick, the taper, blah, blah, blah. The taper was coming. Everybody knew it. What we found out is that the taper dates. That's it. And what do they say? They say that we're going to have a QE until the middle of next year at least, if they start tapering now or in the next month or so. That's what he said. It will end by the middle of next year. That's when the part of the QE ends where they buy assets. That's what tapering is. They buy assets, now they're going to buy less, fewer. So that's part, but then the other part of the QE is still there, low rates. People think that they're going to hike once next year. I don't think they will. We're losing 2 Fed heads. They're both hawks. I bet you they'll replace them with doves, meaning that dot plot will get better in the favor. It's like, hey, let's not raise rates. Nobody can afford higher rates. They're going to work as much as they can to keep it low. Bottom line is, the environment is kind of wacko, and people are acting irrationally. They're fearing too much when they shouldn't be, and they're overloving things when they shouldn't be. So we're going from one extreme to another. This situation happened in the middle of March. Let me show it to you from the NASDAQ perspective. This dip, very violent in March. We bounced, we gave back some, we made new highs. Dip, we're going to bounce, we're going to hit resistance, we're going to come back and make new highs. That's my prognosis for the whole market. Within that, Lucid bet works. See how I backed into it? So buying the dip into prior support is doable, but not all in. And if it's a trade, I would stop out at X% loss. If not, the anticipation is that it can make it come back to here and break out of here. This is a trade, not an investment for me, because I don't like to invest in nothing. And right now, by nothing, I mean there's nothing in the P&L. Not an insult to the people that work there, of course. The cars are beautiful, no revenues, nothing. So I don't have anything tangible. For example, NEO, as much as some people hate it for some reason, if I look at the P&L, it's up and away. Revenues went from $750 million to $4.2 billion. So that's pretty significant. I think they deliver 50,000 cars, which is already way more than what Lucid could ever deliver. So put that into perspective. Under these, I think I read 34,000 is the maximum capacity. And if they operate at maximum capacity, they can not even catch up to this one. And that's the baby Tesla. So Lucid, tradable stock. The fans have done a good job holding the floor. They needed to. They ran too far, too fast. But hey, the lines matter and count. So now the pivot is 23-ish. Of course, it moves fast, so I have to say ish. And buying it here for the opportunity to swing it up, doable. I would stop out at X% loss. And if it breaks out, I would trim and book it, because for me, it would be a trade, not an investment. Nothing here is a recommendation for anybody to do anything. I'm just sharing the potential that's in this stock. So if you don't know why it would pop from there, if you heard of ooh, nice, die, VIX, die. I'm just watching the market in my other eye. So you've heard of Head and Shoulders, right? Something that looks like this. And then it's bearish because when they lose the neckline, they fall as much as this guy. Well, this is an inverse Head and Shoulders. We got one here, and this one, I just mentioned it. I'm just drawing it out. Sometimes I call them complex Head and Shoulders when they have like more than one shoulder. All I care about is one freaking neckline. Call it what you want. You take out the neckline from prior failure, the bulls will get bum rush the bears, come back and test it for footing maybe, even if they dip below it a little bit, and up and away. All right, good luck, guys and gals. Nick, if you don't subscribe to this channel, do it. It's free for now. And set the alert to get notified every time I post a video.